Ladies and gents, boys and girls, happy Wednesday, January the 14th, 2026. I am Chris Phillips. He is Cole the Bear Thompson. This is, once again, the Overtime Drive. We're excited to chat with you here on this Wednesday. It's a big show because it's never too early to look ahead. That's exactly what we're doing here on this show. Our way too early record predictions for the 2026 football season. Heck, the portal's not even closed. In the month of January, rosters will change. Coaching staffs will inevitably change, but that's not stopping us from getting ahead of it and locking in some way too early predictions. Also, guys, of course, I mentioned the transfer portal. Tons of transfer portal news to get into. We got a quarterback in the SEC turning down life-changing money and making a statement. Also, of course, we're taking your questions, your comments, everything in between. We're fired up, excited to chat with you guys here on this Wednesday on the Overtime Drive. Guys, as always, when we get going, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, all across your favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, SECunfiltered.com. And as always, make sure you check out our friends over at Underdog because, as always, we are brought to you by our friends at Underdog. Download the Underdog app today. Use promo code SECU. You're going to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Guys, once again, that's our friends over at Underdog. Promo code SECU to get that $75 in bonus entries today. I already see you in the comments saying it's too early to do it, but damn it, we're going to do it here on Wednesday, January the 14th. I don't even know how many days we've got till a college football season, but that's not stopping us from locking in some way too early, and I mean way too early, record predictions for the 2026 season, and I'm sure everyone will handle these rationally. Nobody's going to overreact or freak out or take these personally, but either way, we're going to do it. Myself, Cole the Bear Thompson. Cole, really excited for you to take time. Again, we got a lot of other things to discuss as well. The transfer portal is just a news cycle that never stops every 5 minutes. We've got some other news breaking out. And of course, guys, we're taking your questions, your comments, interacting and engaging with you all here on a hump day. Cole, what's going on, man?
Dude, we have Ole Miss fans coming in my comment section and DMing me how much I hate them and how disgusting of an individual I am.
I have seen that.
For literally,
how dare you?
How dare I, despite picking them to win every single game this year, I never picked against Ole Miss minus the game against Georgia in the college football playoff. And I'm expecting them not to overreact. We're going to get a lot of overreactions. We're going to get a lot of people pissed off. A lot of people are going to say, you guys are idiots for not looking and seeing everything clear. But that's why we do it. It's fun. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really good. I admittedly, I've got a little bit of, it's kind of cold and rainy here in Nashville, and I've been watching. I'm a golf guy. I've been watching the Golf Channel, and there's a tournament going on in the Bahamas. So that's, I'm like, man, I'd love to be in the Bahamas right now. And I think the PGA Tour season starts this weekend in Hawaii. So, much warmer places than Nashville, Tennessee. But no, everything else is good. Been fighting off. I feel like everyone right now is fighting some sort of like head cold or something.
It's what happens at the start of the year.
A lot of people, dude. I think it's because holidays, you're around a lot of folks and weather's changing and I don't know what else, but I've been kind of fighting some of the stuffed up, not like sick necessarily, but you know what I'm talking about. Just kind of that nagging, runny nose, just that sickness that follows you. I don't know either way. A lot of my friends do. A lot of my friends do have it. But no, we're excited. Again, really, really big show today. I got some housekeeping items I want to get into in just a moment, including a really, really big announcement. Our guy Sandman is in the chat. Plain Truth, again, says it's too early for that. Listen, hey, this is what you get on the Overtime Drive, soon to be announced next week what our show will be called. But this is what you get when you get the Bear and I. We're going to do stuff like this. I'll tell you this. This won't be the last way too early content that we do in the month of January. I'll tell you that right now. Our guy Brandon Kuhn talking about Josiah Thompson, South Carolina. We are going to get into that and talk more about the Gamecocks portal haul as a whole. Definitely think it's worth mentioning. Our guy Sandman, who's always firing questions off at us. He said, a totally innocuous question for you. Which SEC fan base is the most dramatic? You can only pick one. Who has the most dramatic fan base in the SEC? That's a tough question. I mean, because the ones that immediately come to my head are LSU. I think you have to throw Texas in there. I think Texas is up there. I don't know how you pick one, to be honest with you, because I think
what's your direction
Their moments.
but what's your overall feeling when it comes to over dramatic? Are we talking about we don't give you enough respect, that we talk too negatively about you?
When I think they're dramatic, they take everything you say about them or every piece of news about them is like life or death. I think LSU's a good fit for it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think they are. You can't say anything about LSU without them.
I mean, Ole Miss fans right now are very much being cruel to me for no reason whatsoever. I'm very hurt by it.
Oh,
I have been so good all year to them. And now because if I say Kewan Lacey is RB2, oh my God, it's like the world comes to an end.
Bama's, Sandman says Bama. Bama's dramatic. I mean, they didn't have to be dramatic for so long. That's the thing. I listen, every SEC fan base has their moments. They all do. They all do. I think on a consistent basis, though, I think LSU is probably the most dramatic. I love our LSU folks, but LSU folks, man, they get riled up on a different level. So.
I'll tell you the one that I'm probably dealing with the most, and it's because it's for a stupid reason. It's Auburn fans. Because of Auburn fans,
definitely,
because they come at me because I'm an Alabama grad, and they're like, "Oh, you're always going to say something negative about us because of the Alabama ties." It's like, I didn't hire Hugh Freeze. I didn't go out of my way not to bring in a quarterback. I didn't go out and build a roster filled with millions of dollars of top tier players and watch them all go to the portal. Like I didn't do that. You guys did, and I'm just calling it as I see it. But because I'm a Bama grad, I must hate on them.
Fair enough. Speaking of Auburn, by the way, our guy Plain Truth says, do you think Hugh Freeze will be interested in going golfing? I'd love to play with Hugh Freeze. That'd be great content. I mean, look, talking about dramatics. Literally, what did I just say? I didn't even say anything. Dalton says no crawfish for Chris when he comes down to an LSU baseball game. Dalton, it's not even an insult. It's just the truth. It's what makes LSU great, the dramatics. But whatever, man. Hey, you know what, Dalton? Maybe no crawfish from you. There'll be plenty of crawfish from LSU, I can assure you. My guy Mikey has got a spot for me at his tailgate. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. All right, cool. Let's get into the show again. We got a couple of quick housekeeping items. One big one that I want to share with you all. This probably won't come as a surprise to a lot of you, but the big announcement is that it's officially official. Everything is going through. We've been working with these guys since essentially the football season. We've collabed with them on events. We've done promos on social media. We were like, hey, there's something here. And if you saw yesterday, we announced, obviously, it's no secret, but our friends over at Underdog, they are the big drivers behind the SEC Unfiltered Tour 2026. And what I mentioned yesterday on socials was the tour, there's going to be a little bit of a different look to it from the standpoint we're going to be doing more. Like when we go on the road, it's not just going to be for the sake of going. Not that it was before, but there's going to be a lot more events, a lot more tailgates, a lot more like when we go somewhere, we are going not just to attend, but also be part of the festivities, if that makes sense. Someone who's going to play a big role in that, it's officially official, our friends over at Outlaw Beer. This morning, I got the message, everything's good to go, everything's board approved, the contract is being signed. So cheers to that. Cheers to our friends at Outlaw Beer. Super stoked to have them on board. And if you need a cold beer this season, you know who to turn to. It's us. Because we will have it on us everywhere that we go. So cheers to Outlaw Beer. Really, really excited to work with those guys. The best light beer for my money's worth. Again, great to share a cold one with you, Cole, here on the show today. And I'll have to get you. I'm not drinking,
so, good job.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Listen, it is what it is. Somebody's got to do it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But in all seriousness, again, really appreciate those guys for believing in us, investing in us. And it's only going to enhance everything we're doing, especially when we go on the road, throwing events. We've already been talking about tailgates and watch parties and just different events we'll be able to host, and they'll be doing that alongside with us. So shout out Outlaw Beer. Really appreciate them. Outside of that, guys, again, the SEC Unfiltered Network launch is set for next Tuesday, the 20th. Really, really excited. You guys have probably seen all the stuff I've been teasing throughout the week. It has been straight grind mode on this side of things. Last 2 or 3 days, I have been just face deep into the MacBook, just grinding, getting after it. Really just a lot of tedious work, setting everything up, getting it all ready to go. Also, final overtime drive, or what's known as the overtime drive. The show's not going anywhere, obviously, but final overtime drive will be. We will go live on Monday. We will do the thing on Monday. Obviously, it's the day of the national championship, but we'll do our thing. We'll put a pin in what is the overtime drive. And on Wednesday, the 21st, will be the first episode of the new show with a new facelift and new name, new logo, everything. So really, really excited for it. Excited to do it with you, Cole. And without further ado, let's get into it. We got some way too early record predictions to discuss for the 2026 SEC football season. Now, let me give a couple of disclaimers really, really quickly. Number one, these are subject to change. I know that's shocking, but these are not final record predictions for the season. They're way too early for a reason. This is just our 30,000-foot view, what we know about these teams right now, what we know about these rosters. Obviously, they're going to change through the spring. Position battles are going to happen. Injuries are going to happen. Probably coaching changes. I mean, who knows, guys? We know we live in the wild, wild west of college football. So subject to change, but this is just right now how we see it. So I cannot stress it enough. These are subject to change. These are not the final record predictions. You can expect those from Cole and I would say probably late summer, end of July, beginning of August, something like that, when we've got a pretty good idea of how these teams shape up. But with that being said, let's have some fun with it, Cole. We're going to start with yours. I'm going to let you walk it through first. We'll go with mine, and then we'll kind of just have some open banter and conversation and discussion. Cool. Sound good? Sound good. All right. And I promise, by the way, the graphic that you guys will be seeing on social media is going to look a lot prettier than this. Yeah. But last minute, I was like, what? We need a visual here. So I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to read through these, and I'll let you kind of walk through. Actually, let's do this. Let's show yours, and then let's show mine, and then we kind of can discuss
back and forth.
Banter,
I got you.
And we'll go back and forth, just so people have an idea where we stand. So these are Cole Thompson's way too early record predictions. And oh, by the way, I will say this too. High-level overview. We're not going to get specifically game by game. It is just a feel on where we see these teams as it sits right now. So I'm going to go bottom to top. I'm going to go from the very bottom to the very top, starting with the bottom dwellers. Cole's got Arkansas 3-9, Kentucky 4-8, Mississippi State 5-7. Sounds a lot like 2025. Mizzou and Vandy at 6-6, Auburn also at 6-6, South Carolina 7-5, Tennessee 7-5, A&M at 8-4, Oklahoma at 8-4, LSU, Lane Kiffin's first season at 9-3, Ole Miss 9-3, Alabama 10-2, Georgia 10-2, Florida 10-2, and Texas at 10-2. For me, at the bottom, I've also got Arkansas at 3-9, Mississippi State at 4-8, Kentucky also at 4-8, Auburn 5-7, Florida and Mizzou and South Carolina at 6-6. I got Vandy, Tennessee, LSU all at 7-5, A&M 8-4, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, and Alabama at 9-3, Texas at 10-2, and Georgia at 11-1.
No crawfish for you now. That's 100%.
Definitely no crawfish. Right. Definitely no crawfish for me now with the 7-5 record prediction. Cole, let's go back to yours. We'll start with yours again. You guys have our way too early record predictions out there, and again, we will have a much prettier graphic to throw on social media than this one. Starting with yours, Cole. What led you to your record predictions? What were some of the things that where you sit right now with some of these programs? I mean, I'll tell you what jumped out from what I saw from yours. John Summerall in Florida. Yeah. 10-2. I'd love to see it. I genuinely would love to see it. Who's playing quarterback? That's my question. Is it Aaron? Okay, it's Aaron Philon. Yeah. I'm assuming Jaden Ball's in the Heisman Trophy conversation.
He's the Doak Walker Award winner.
I mean,
he's RB1 for me going into the year.
He's getting 40 carries a game.
Yeah, at least 28 minimum. There will not be a game where he has less than 28 carries per contest, and he stays fully healthy. No, I mean, I look at the addition of Buster Faulkner. I think it's one of the most underappreciated moves in college football this past year. Because of what you're doing is you're bringing in a guy who has a good understanding on how to win in the SEC from his time in the state of Florida and his time in the state of Georgia. And it's a guy who also has a very good understanding of building offensive lines and trusting what is your surroundings around you. So I look at having a guy like Eric Singleton come back to his offense and what made him such a figure alongside Georgia Tech in 2024. And then you throw that in with Dallas Wilson, you throw that in with Vernell Brown, and a more offense that is going to be predicated on trusting the run game. I feel like they're going to take a jump forward. I like the fact that John Summerall is a massive defensive-minded guy who has a good tie of being able to, kind of run the show, but not be taking over the entire play calling. And their schedule is really, really relaxed. I mean, like, you look at their names overall, you play FAU, Campbell as your out-of-conference matchups. You get Auburn early on in the year. Ole Miss is going to be a little challenging. South Carolina may be a little bit challenging, but you avoid Alabama. You avoid LSU. You avoid Tennessee. You have matchups against Vanderbilt that's going through potentially a rebuilding year. Oklahoma that we don't know what they're going to be entirely. You have the at Texas game. You've already beaten Texas before. Do you feel like you can do it again? There's a lot of things that I just like about the way that their schedule lines on up to where they should be playing their best ball to kind of close out the year, which is why I have them winning 4 of their last 5 games, including 1 over Georgia, which is why they're ahead of Georgia at 10-2. And I think they're going to be in the college football playoff hunt. I really do love what I've seen so far from the overall off-season moves. And I told you guys, I hate the fact this is my toxic relationship, buying into Florida every offseason. But I'm once again buying into Florida of being able to go ahead and overexceed expectations.
Cole, assuming it's a 12-team playoff, we talked about the playoff expansion stuff Monday. I would assume in that scenario 4 SEC teams, if this is how it were to finish, 4 SEC teams, those top 4 are going to be in the playoff.
I don't see a scenario where you're going to have 5 SEC teams ever in the college football playoff again after what we witnessed this past year. So
if it's 16, I wonder, does Ole Miss or LSU get in as well? I'm very intrigued.
I would assume they would, at least one of them.
I think one of them.
And here's the thing: the reason why Ole Miss is ahead of LSU, I have Ole Miss beating LSU. I have Lane Kiffin going back to Oxford and losing to LSU. So that's where the difference is.
I like it.
That to me is where we can have the discussion of who goes where in the pecking order, and if there's going to be a 5th SEC team in.
Alex Golesh, 6-6, year 1 at Auburn, I think would be solid. I think after what you lose,
eligible, you bring a new culture in. Maybe you get a few upset wins here and there. It's a good starting point for a team that really needs to hit reset in a lot of ways.
Outside of a place like an LSU, like I don't think most situations you take over, if you can get to bowl eligibility in year 1, that's a decent foundation to lay early on. Again, LSU would be different. They will not be happy to go 6-6 in year 1. But I think at Auburn, with the lack of stability, I mean, you've had, 5 straight losing seasons?
You've had 4 straight losing seasons. And you've also had 3 different coaches in the last 6 years.
Yeah, so if you can finish above 500, I mean, even if it's 7-6 with a bowl win, I think you call that a success for your Auburn. Tennessee and South Carolina are interesting in your predictions. I just wonder how those fan bases would be feeling with 7-5. I don't know. I think for both of them, I think Tennessee will be ready. And I'm not saying it's right, by the way. I think Tennessee fans are going to be ready to move off of Josh Heupel if they go 7-5. I really
will be on the hot seat going into 2027 for sure.
Very hot.
But let me ask you guys something out of curiosity. Let's say Joey Aguilar does not get the eligibility waiver claimed. And so
which it doesn't look like he will. But.
So if he's out, you're in the constant, revolving chair of playing musical chairs, and you don't land a transfer portal quarterback, which means that you're relying on your young up-and-coming 2 redshirt freshmen and true freshmen to battle it on out in George McIntyre and the other kid for an opportunity to be QB1. Every other team in the SEC is going to have at least some experience at quarterback besides maybe Alabama. And you add in a lot of good defensive pieces. And Jim Knowles, I think, is a great defensive coordinator. And they're going to end up being, I think, better off for it by the season's end. And they're going to get an upset win or 2. I mean, I think if I looked at my schedule, I have them beating Vanderbilt. I have them beating South Carolina on the road, which is why they're ahead of South Carolina. But I don't like the fact that you have questions at the quarterback spot in a year where the SEC is going to be dominated based off of quarterback play and defense. And you're putting a lot of faith in a new defensive coordinator to come on in a schedule that does feature Alabama, that features Texas A&M, LSU. You have to face off against Texas. There's a lot of games that you can look ahead and say, it's a coin flip. Who do you trust more at quarterback? I trust so-and-so. Therefore, you end up losing the game. That's really what it came down to, in my opinion.
Does 7-5 get Shane Beamer back?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? It's going to be right there on the fringe, dude. Because I think 6-6, he's gone.
But 7-5 would say you did enough to be able. Well, also, what was the 7-5? Who were the wins?
I would agree. I think the way the 7-5 looks is very, very important. If it's 7-5 and the offense takes a major step forward in the Bryles, then I think you have, because here's the thing, you're going to lose Lenore Sellers, dude.
Yeah.
Like, but if the offense isn't good again, I think that will be, even if you're winning games with defense and special, it's not going to be good enough. I just think it'll be one of those, hey, like, we're never going to get to where we want to go offensively if we keep Beamer in that position. So, the way 7-5, that is the gray area. 8-4 or better, he's back. 6-6 or worse, I think he's gone.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that, I have them beating Oklahoma. I have them playing close against Alabama. But like, if you lose to let's say you lose to Mississippi State. Let's say that you lose to Kentucky. Let's say you lose to Arkansas. That's inexcusable. It's finding a way to be able to win your games against common opponents that you're supposed to beat. Beating Clemson in the Palmetto Bowl. Things like that will be able to kind of benefit you and give you a little bit more of I would say, a leeway or a running leash. They're a really interesting team, too, because if I like the moves that were made, and when I made this, I also made this before the Josiah Thompson news. So the Josiah Thompson news, this may be one to where I can flip and say 8-4, potentially, but we're right on that kind of teetering line. There's so much unknown with what they've added on in that I just need to see it in action. They could end up going 4-8. They could end up going 9-3. They could be 7-5. I think they're all kind of in the same playing field.
Cole, LSU 9-3. You're one of Lane Kiffin. We thinking he's just going to pick it up and get it rolling early. I mean, I guess the offensive boost is all they were really missing in 25. So,
do you doubt Lane Kiffin with an offense? Is my main thing. Like,
now he's got multiple quarterbacks to choose from.
You can suck with Sam Levitt and then eventually get Hussein Longstreet to come on in and be phenomenal. And again, you look at the kind of names that we bring on in with Lane Kiffin at wide receiver and at running back, and they always hit their stride. They're better suited for the NFL. And you have arguably the best defensive coordinator in the SEC in Blake Baker, a great defensive mind that's been able to retain some talent. You've done a good job of being able to bring in the number one defensive prospect in college football this year. So there's a lot to like about what Lane Kiffin has. Here's the problem. Lane Kiffin wins a game that he shouldn't, and he loses a game that he shouldn't. And it happens every single year. This was the season where it didn't happen.
Will the Ole Miss game be one he should or should not?
It should be one that he probably wins, but he's not going to, in my opinion, right now. Gun to head, I think Tradad Chambliss, if he gets the eligibility to come on back, him and Keywan Lacey get the revenge. That would be my expectation.
God, that's going to be an incredible game. That's all.
It's going to be a sold out. It's already a sold out game.
Cole, I want you to dissect A&M a little bit. I'm sure I'm going to get the same feedback from our guy Bo Molinari. Putting Florida, Ole Miss, and LSU above A&M is rich and not a good rich.
There's
just has to say.
Look,
Marcel Reed scares me.
It's a new offensive coordinator. That's it for me.
New OC too.
So it's like, what's going to change? Is the offense entirely going in a different direction with Holman Wiggins? Are you sure that you're going to get the exact same type of personality? What's the offensive line going to look like? You're replacing 3 starters. What are you going to get from your defense? I like the fact that Bryce Anderson's back. I like some of the names they brought in via the portal. I do like that Mario Craver is going to have another season to build a rapport with Marcel Reed. You still have Ruben Owens in your backfield. You still have a solid offensive line. This is still a Mike Elko defense. But some games you're kind of tossing on up. The Alabama game, you're playing on the road. That to me is a big time deal. You're playing on the road at Oklahoma. That's a big time deal. On the road at Missouri, what are they going to look like? You still have to face off against Texas. Tennessee could be a really interesting game. You went down to the wire with Lenore Sellers last time you faced off against them. You have to face them again. You got to go play against Lane Kiffin on the road in Death Valley, a place that you won for the first time since 1991. 1991, 1993, 1998. No, 1997, I think. My bad. In the 1990s, over 20 plus years, first time you won. And you have Lane Kiffin who beats you, who wins a lot against you. So it's like you add all that together. The schedule's more challenging. There are more conference games. And there still are the question marks that you have about Marcel Reed. I think that right now, it's very clear that this could end up being a team that goes 10-2, 11-1, 8-4. It could go anyway. It wouldn't shock me. They will be 8-4 or better. That's all I will say.
Cole, can we also mention how insane it is that A&M has to go back to LSU next year or this year?
Oh yeah,
that's why, because of the scheduling. I get it, but that's still like crazy to think about that they're going to go back to Death Valley.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
I mean, I don't know if it's fantastic. It just kind of is what it is if you're an A&M fan. But yeah.
By the way, I want to throw this one out here. Florida at 10-2 is a joke. I get it. I do. Don't hire.
I mean, listen.
Summerall.
Imagine this is a year ago, and Cole or I had Vandy at 10-2. Think about how crazy you'd have thought we were.
Here's the bottom line.
So you never really know. That's all I'm saying.
Bottom line. Don't hire John Summerall and give me that propaganda. That's all I'm going to say. If you hired anybody else, they'd probably be 7-5. But you hired the one coach that I think is the A+ hire of the offseason. So I'm sorry. I'll go down the ship. Totally okay with it.
All right. Before we get into mine, Cole, last thing I'll say, I don't think Jeff Lebby survives if they go 5-7. I don't think he's back. From what I've been told, the expectations there, I don't know. I'd be surprised. I'm just saying that. I'd be surprised. Arkansas and Kentucky. Listen, somebody's going to have to lose games in the league. It's just these 9-game conference schedules. Like I think Will Stein is going to do good things at Kentucky. Silverfield at Arkansas. I don't, or Silverstein, I should say. I don't really know.
You had it right the first
Silverfield, time. Yes. Okay. Silverfield. I always get that mixed up for some reason. Silverfield, I don't, I think he could, but I think these are the two very obvious. The rosters are just not in a place to do. They'll be fighting for bowl eligibility. That'll be the goal in year one, obviously. So
I will say the one I'm most intrigued with is Mississippi State. Because if
Kamario Taylor's back and good to go, yeah, that offense should be fun, dude.
They have an opportunity to have a really, really, really fun offense. Like a very significant upgrade in offense. And I do like the hire of Zach Arnett as defense coordinator. Because I thought that he was thrown into a lose-lose situation, automatically replacing a legend of Mike Leach. Probably wasn't ready for the job. But he did some good things as a DC. So I think it's okay. I just don't know. There's just so many things that I look at that I have my major questions on. They just are right now. And 5-7 feels like it's not good. And you are right. 5-7, depending on what your record is, especially in conference play, it probably does lead to the end of a tenure. But there's so many things that I don't know and feel good about when it comes to Mississippi State right now.
Those are Cole's way too early record predictions. Let's jump into mine really quickly, Cole. I'll run through these. We're very similar at the bottom, especially Arkansas, Mississippi State, Kentucky. I think it's going to be the bottom of the barrel of the league. I got Auburn just missing a bowl game. I got Florida 6-6. So
yeah,
we're
that's
a little bit.
That's the big difference.
It's the big one. What you're also going to notice, and what I notice is, I think a 9-game conference schedule is going to take a toll in the league. I think you're going to see a lot of teams lose games, which I think means we're going to have multiple 9-3 teams get into the college football playoff.
Sure.
Again, I trust Kirby Smart in Georgia. I've got them at 11-1. I think Texas with their roster 10-2. I don't know yet. I think 2 losses are going to come somewhere. I don't know if they're going to have 1 SEC loss and 1 loss in the non-con Ohio State. I think it's more than likely they beat Ohio State and they lose 2 SEC games. I mean,
see, to me, that was the flip. The reason why Texas was ahead of everybody else is because I had them losing to Ohio State still.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of went back and forth on that. We're very similar with the Vandy, Tennessee, South Carolina, all floating, Mizzou, all floating in that 6-6, 7-5 range. Texas A&M 8-4. And by the way, I want to get to this comment. We had a comment here. Let's see. We had a comment. I'm missing it. Oh, here we go. Our guy Marcus Brooks. Y'all were saying A&M was 8-4 this past year, and they went 11-1. I get it. Let's not act like 11 wins every year is what they do every year. Let's not act like that's the every year expectation now. Like saying that Texas A&M is going to go 8-4 is not it's a safe pick. It's a safe pick. It just is. So like Cole said, I think they could go better. I think they could get back to 9 or 10 wins, or I don't think they win 11 games again. I think in a 9-game conference schedule, we're going to see the league beat up on each other. I think it's going to happen. I've got LSU at 7-5. Again, my crawfish will be dead before the boil. I get it. I understand. It is what it is. I'll get the last scoop of gumbo. I may not even get a scoop of gumbo.
You won't even get a scoop of gumbo.
I won't even get a scoop of gumbo. Again, crawfish dead before the boil. I don't know what else. Something with my jambalaya will be messed up. I don't know. Either way, I just think year one of a new head coach. I think there's going to be some bumps in the road for Lane Kiffin. I do. I think year 2 is the year they really pop. I think year 1, and I'm saying they could go better. And again, these are subject to change, like I said, but right now, 7-5 for that. Yeah, I think my big takeaway, Cole, is I just think there's going to be teams that are going to rack up losses. So I could see Oklahoma getting back to 10 wins. I've got them at 9-3, but I could see them getting back to 10. I think Ole Miss, especially if they get Chambliss back, but even if they don't, with Kewan Lacey, I think they're going to be a force yet again. I agree with you. I think they beat LSU in that game at Oxford. So, yeah, this is where I sit right now. I still think we get 4 SEC. I think 2 of those 9-3 teams are going to get in. I do.
So would you say that Oklahoma is the one on the outside looking in?
Yes.
Okay.
I would.
Now, Alabama, 9-3.
And I'll tell you this. I could see only 3 of these getting in. I
Sure.
could see the top 3 getting in. Yeah, Bama and 9-3 is interesting. I am becoming very weary of Kalen DeBoer. I am. I'm becoming very, very weary of DeBoer. So I don't know if 9-3 is good enough.
That's what I was about to ask.
It probably isn't. It probably isn't. I don't even, barring they go 9-3, they still make the playoff, barring a deep run. I don't think it's good enough. I don't.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so let me ask you, of the bottom half that you have, which is the one that you would say you expect to overexceed expectations? So we'll go South Carolina down. If you could make one switch that says they end up going 9-3, 10-2, you will not be shocked.
9-3 or 10-2. It's well, I can tell you this. I can easily eliminate Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. It's
Okay.
None of those 3. You know, man, I think Auburn. I like Byron Brown at quarterback, dude. I do. I like him a lot at quarterback. I could see Auburn overachieving. I could see it. I like Florida, too. I mean, Jaden Ball's a beast, but I'll go Auburn. Be a little different from you. I'll go with the Auburn Tigers.
So you will go Auburn.
Yeah, I will go.
Okay.
I love Byron Brown at quarterback. I do. I know they got a lot of other pieces to figure out, but yeah, I like Auburn.
You know what? If you go to my list, back thing, I have them at 6-6. I go Auburn. Auburn would be my pick as well. It would. I mean, honestly, you look overall where they are. You look at their schedule. The fact that you do have a very, very, very balanced overall identity offensively, and you have a quarterback. And again, we talk about it all the time. You have a quarterback, you have an opportunity. If you have that, knowing where the overall offense is, they added in Bryson Washington, which, by the way, if you don't know who he is, I'm telling you right now, go watch his tape from Baylor. He's a phenomenal running back that's going to fit in this offense a lot. They kept some defensive pieces around. I do think that it would make a lot of sense if they were to go 9-3, and they do have a good coach.
Dude, we're gonna be talking about this again. By the way, you know, the last 2 years we're like they could be 5-0 going into 6-0. They open up Baylor, Southern Miss. Baylor's in Atlanta. They get Southern Miss, Florida, Vandy all at home. So there's a chance they're 4-0. Then they go to Tennessee. What is Tennessee? They could be 5-0 going into the bye week and going into Georgia. It's possible. It's very, very possible. So you still have Samford on the schedule, Mississippi State on the schedule, Arkansas on the schedule. That's 8 wins right there. I mean, it's not crazy.
I'm not counting out Mizzou either, just because of it's Mizzou. And Mizzou
is that weird one. Mizzou's a weird one. Yeah, they're very much like, where are we with Missouri? I don't know. It's hard to gauge what Missouri is right now. You know, like, are they a for real threat? Are they, the second they get a difficult schedule, they're going to flounder and they're going to falter? I mean, hey, I'll tell you this. They got a schedule this year. They got a schedule. Yeah. Texas, at Georgia, Oklahoma, A&M, at Ole Miss, Florida. Like, boy, you go 8-4 this year, 9-3, you earned it. You earned it. The back half of their schedule is a gauntlet.
If they have Austin Simmons hit, if Austin Simmons is who I thought he was going to be,
could be a dude.
It changes a lot. It does. Like, honestly, one of the biggest what ifs that I had in college football this year is, what if he does not get hurt and Trinidad Chambliss doesn't play? What is Ole Miss? Are they good? Are they still in the playoff? Is Trinidad Chambliss given a year of eligibility to transfer? And if he transfers, does he go to a G5 school? Like what is Missouri? What is Ole Miss this year with Austin Simmons? And that's going to be a big what if next year. If he reaches his full potential, what is Mizzou with Ahmad Hardy in the backfield?
First 3 games, non-conference, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, at Kansas is going to be an interesting game.
Yeah.
and then Troy at home. And then
So
you
3
dive
wins potentially. I would say more than
at
likely.
Kansas will be fun. I'm not going to lie to you. At Kansas,
Mississippi State's a fun one on the road
yeah,
afterwards.
that's sneaky. That's sneaky.
Parkville.
That's one of those where like the winner of that one's on the fast track for bowl eligibility. If that's kind of where they're both hanging out. By the way, Florida, the homecoming game from Mizzou in 2026. Very interesting.
Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma are the 3 of the 4 last games to close out the year. So yeah, you're gonna be tested. You're gonna be really tested.
Yeah, that's that is that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. I don't. It's been a while. I feel like since Mizzou has been to Athens.
It's been a hot minute.
It's been a minute. Mizzou and Georgia used to. I mean, when it was obviously the East.
2021 or 2022 was the last. I mean, 2020.
Feels like it's been forever. I don't know.
It's been 3+ years. That's for sure.
Yeah, feels like it's been forever. I mean, that's it. Those are our way too early predictions, guys. I mean, I would love to hear your thoughts. Again, subject to change. All in good fun. These inevitably will change. They're not going to stay the same from now until August. If they do, something is terribly wrong. I just think the big thing, Cole, again, for me, my big takeaway was non-conference games. There's going to be a lot of the league beating up on each other. I mean, I think we know the reason we went to non-conference games. There was essentially a guarantee or what have you made to Greg Sankey that strength of schedule. And I think we're fighting towards more of the expanded playoffs, getting a number of teams guaranteed in from each conference. I don't think you go to non-conference games otherwise. So it's going to it's going to be fun for us. It's going to be fun for fans. We got more great games, but I think there's going to be a lot of teams beating up on each other this season.
Yeah. I think that we're either going to see a lot of 8-4 and very few 10-2s, or like you said, very few 10-2, 11-1s, and a lot of 9-3, 8-4s.
Yeah. I still feel good about Georgia 11-1 though. I like their schedule. Oklahoma and Athens will be fun.
Yeah.
At Bama is obviously the big one there.
At this point, is that scary though? I mean, like that's the thing. You've already beaten them.
Well, I think from just a mental, maybe like the regular season. What is Bama by October 10th? I don't know. Yeah. I think just from all the extracurricular outside noise stuff, but maybe after the SEC title, that's dead and gone. I mean, you get Auburn at home, you get Florida in the Benz, which is like a home game. At Ole Miss could be very interesting. You get at South Carolina the second to last weekend of the season. That's a game that I think Georgia will win. But hey, if it's a night game at Willie B, God knows what may happen in that football game. But yeah, I still like it's. Listen, I learned my lesson. I had Texas winning the national title and kind of running the league at 25. I'm from this point forward, I'm pretty much just sticking with Georgia until I see them get dethroned. I will say though, I think Texas is going to have the talent this season to win the whole thing. I really do. But
I cannot wait to be.
I feel like we are getting in that trap of saying that almost every year. So
I cannot wait for Florida to let me down and be the heartbreak that I've always signed up for. I cannot wait for it. I've accepted it. It is the toxic relationship of my life.
I mean, dude, it's not a bad pick. I like it. Let's get bold with it. Why not? Guys, love to hear your thoughts. Way too early predictions. Agree with us, disagree. How do you feel your team's going to do in 2026? Like I said, a lot of time to go, subject to change, but this is what we do in January. We're having some fun with it. Guys, a lot more to get into. Again, the transfer portal has been a complete mess. Before we do, though, I want to say about our friends over at Underdog. As always, we're brought to you by our friends at Underdog. Guys, the football playoffs are here. Underdog is the best place to get into all the gridiron action. Playing on Underdog is super easy. Just pick your favorite players. Are they going to go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more? Get them right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. Cole, any specific players? I know we haven't revealed what the higher or lowers are, but I need to get your plays for the Texans. Like you need to help me out here with some guys on the Texans that we need to be targeting.
Always take the higher when it comes to, I would say, Dalton Schultz and passing yards. Always take the higher in him. I would always say take the lower in the rushing yards, whoever it is, whether that be Woody Marks.
Okay, I got him for you. CJ Stroud, higher, lower, 210.5 passing yards.
It's New England. I'll say higher, but I don't feel comfortable doing that.
All right, rush yards. We've got. This is how little I know.
Is it Woody Marks or Nick Chubb?
Woody Marks, 58.5.
I'll take lower.
Lower, okay. All right. And then receiving yards, Christian Kirk, not Charlie Kirk, as Stephen A. Smith referred to him as, 47.5 receiving yards.
I'll take more. Listen, they're higher. I mean, you're not going to have what's his name out there, Nico Collins. So might as well go with.
And then your boy Schultz at 40.5. So.
Yeah, I'll take the more.
Anyways, hey, like I said, NFL playoffs are here. A lot of different higher, lower, whatever. All the different players are out there. It's not just the Houston game, but Cole's going to hook us up when it comes to Houston and winning some money. Guys, what are you waiting for? Download the app today. Use promo code SECU to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code SECU. Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 18 and up, 19 and up in Alabama. Alabama, what is NE? What is the state that's NE? No, it's not New Hampshire. It's
NE is New Hampshire.
NE is?
Yeah.
I thought it was NH.
No, New Hampshire is NE. Or Nebraska.
Nebraska. Dude, I'm just having a total brain fart. This ad read's going great, by the way. 19 and up in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 up in Colorado for some games, 21 and up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE and wire text HOPE in Y. Cole, I mentioned we have some big transfer portal news, but before we dive into that, I guess this does relate to the transfer portal. I want to talk about this Ty Simpson thing.
Yeah.
Ty Simpson just did something that I think 99.9% of common people could not fathom. And that is, he didn't just turn down big money. He turned down life-changing money. Ty Simpson, in case you missed it, has declared for the NFL draft. That didn't stop teams from trying to lure him to go into the portal and come back for the 2026 season and be their starting quarterback. Because, hey, if you're a big-time program, to hell with recruiting a quarterback, we're going to go in the portal and get one every single year. Tennessee and Miami were the two teams most interested, reportedly. $6.5 million is what was reported that teams were trying to lure him to get into the transfer portal, which is nuts. But welcome to college football in 2026. Ty Simpson said no, Cole. Ty Simpson said no. And the quote that he had regarding this is one of the most legendary quotes of all time.
Yeah.
It really, truly is. In an era in which it feels like not all, but most are chasing the bag, Ty Simpson said this, quote, "Everyone would just remember me as the guy who took all this money and went to Miami or Tennessee for his last year. But I was a captain. I put my hand and footprints in the cement at Denny Chimes. I would have lost everything that I built at Alabama," end quote. You're a Bama guy, Cole. You know Denny Chimes. I've been there. Is Ty Simpson the greatest Alabama quarterback to ever play? No, he's not.
No.
Did he win a national title? No. But that quote, I feel like alone, his legacy will forever live on there. He will always be welcome back in Tuscaloosa. He will always be revered by Alabama fans. And what a refreshing, if we're going to celebrate guys and players having freedom, and we should, players having freedom to go better their situation and go get the bag and get life-changing money and change their families' lives, let's also celebrate guys like this. Let's celebrate guys that want to honor legacy, that want to honor, where they come from and where they played and the program that gave them an opportunity, and say, I'm not going to do that. I'm an Alabama guy. I'm built by Bama. I'm ready to go to the league, but I'm also not just going to go somewhere for the quick cash and potentially, because I don't even know that it would have been tarnished. I think most people have been like, I get it. I get it. But even potentially tarnish it, this is a story, Cole, that should absolutely be celebrated.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that you have to remind yourself, in a year where the college football quarterback conundrum has been a lot of constant moving parts and not a lot of NFL names, you have an opportunity to get paid a lot of money and be remembered in Tuscaloosa for all the right reasons. And that's what Ty Simpson's doing. I mean, Dante Moore announced earlier today that he's going to go back for another year to Oregon, which means that Fernando Mendoza is expected to be QB1 in 2026. Who's QB2?
I mean, Cole,
honestly,
can I
right
say
now,
something? I got to be honest. I don't know that I wouldn't take Ty Simpson ahead of Fernando Mendoza. Just as a quarterback. Like, I really like, I think if you put Ty Simpson on that Indiana team, he puts up some insane numbers.
Sure.
Anyways, continue.
But my point is that in a year where there's not a guaranteed number 2, and quarterback is always going to be the top priority for a lot of organizations, and they're going to overdraft because they have to. You remembered at Alabama for being a captain. You remembered at Alabama for beating Georgia in your own backyard. You remember for Alabama going to a college football playoff. You remember to Alabama for winning a playoff game. You remember to Alabama for having one of the highest completion percentage during the regular season and beating your rival Tennessee in your own backyard. You remember for all those things. And you're also going to be a potential first-round pick, get paid the exact same amount of money, and have your legacy secure in Tuscaloosa for the long haul. I mean, it's not a bad trade-off. And I will say there was a little bit of a conversation that you had to have with yourself because there's a proof of concept when you go to Miami. Like, I can understand not going to Tennessee. Tennessee, you're going to your arch rival. You're going to a team to where you ever go back to Tuscaloosa, they're going to scorn your name. They're going to trash you. They're going to talk to you about how you just took the money and like, I get all that. But Miami, we've seen now Cam Ward go from being a late day 3 pick to the number 1 overall pick. We watched as Carson Beck went from being a guy that maybe was never going to be able to live up to expectations at Georgia to leading his team to a national championship. Shannon Dawson works for quarterbacks, and there's a couple of things that you could tweak upon to where maybe you'd be a Heisman finalist, you're playing in the ACC, you get paid, you could get paid next offseason. But instead he said, you know what? I'm okay with passing on all this generational money because if I want to go make my career in the NFL, I have an opportunity to continue my legacy at Alabama. And here's the other thing, and I brought this up with Quinn Ewers last year. Quinn could have gotten paid by Notre Dame or Miami or wherever the hell he wanted to go, but instead he said, I want to be known as a Longhorn. Do you know that when he comes back to that school, with the NIL purposes, with the boosters, with all of the events that they do around the belt, he will be welcomed with open arms and they'll always make sure that he's secure? Like, Alabama may not do it at that exact level, but he will be remembered in Tuscaloosa for the long haul. I mean, if he ever gets out of the NFL and wants to go back to this program or go back to the state or back to the city of Tuscaloosa, they will welcome him and give him a job, and they'll make sure that he's well taken care of, and boosters will be able to help him out. Like, there's something about that to where money can't replace that. Like, the legacy that you have, it's a good thing because of now you get to use that to your advantage. Like, Vince Young and Johnny Manziel are 2 perfect examples. They didn't make it in the NFL. They were terrible for their teams. But you go to Tuscaloosa. I mean, you go to Austin. Vince Young is still a legend. You go to College Station. Johnny Manziel is still revered by everybody inside that building. It doesn't matter that they didn't pan out in the NFL. It's what they meant to their programs. And yeah, did Ty Simpson win a national championship? No. Did he do anything other than go to a playoff game and look dreadful against Indiana? No. But he still is going to be remembered as an Alabama Crimson Tideman. That's what's going to carry his weight. And that's a good thing. And for a lot of people around Tuscaloosa, they'll say he was built by Bama. And if he ends up panning on out in the NFL, they will revere him forever because of what he meant to the program, being an only Alabama Crimson Tide guy.
It's just heartwarming to see legacy win. It is.
Yeah.
It's heartwarming to see. And you listen, everybody's situation is different. I think that's something we have to keep in mind too. It's obviously a really, it's a luxurious position, Cole, to be in, to be able to turn down that kind of money because he's obviously set up very well to, apparently he and his father, I guess his father talked to a bunch of different GMs or a bunch of different NFL people. And, it's everything came back as, hey, you're a first rounder. I believe I saw, was it the final pick in the NFL draft last year? Signing bonus was like $5 million or up to like the 24th pick or something. It was like
something like that.
Late first round, you're still making very good money. Very, very, I think where Ty Simpson's going to get picked, that money is he's going to recoup.
He's going to be a first round pick. And if he's not and that's the thing is that there will be a team, Pittsburgh, the New York Jets with the second first round pick, potentially the Cleveland Browns. They will take him in the middle of the 20s and he'll end up getting at least a contract roughly around $6 million. Now it's $6 million for a span of 3+ years. It's not, or even a 4-year deal with a 5th-year option. It's a little bit more, and $6.5 million for 1 year is a little bit different. But it's what Ty Simpson wants. And honestly, I don't blame him for taking the gamble in a year where right now there is no QB2. Like Trinidad Chambliss, if he gets the eligibility claimed, he's going back to Ole Miss. He's going to play for the Rebels next year, not for the Steelers, not for the Jets, not for the Browns. Diego Pavia, for as much as we love him for what he's done for Vanderbilt, is not a first-round pick. Miller Moss is the name that a lot of people are bringing on up. You throw in like a Sawyer Robertson from Baylor, or you throw in a Garrett Nussmeier. Those are guys who are probably going to get drafted, but they're going to be drafted with the intent of being project players. Where Ty Simpson gets to go ahead and say, look, I may not have won my national championship. I may have not won the SEC title, but I still had a completion percentage over 75% for most of the season. I still am very good at the mechanical stuff. I can transition to an NFL offense pretty easily. And if you build around me, I got to feel pretty content on where I am as a player. So, like, the gamble may end up panning on out for Ty because of everyone else said, I want to go back to college for a year. If you saw, like, Lenore Sellers and you saw, like, Arch Manning all go into the NFL draft, I could see a scenario when absolutely you go to take that money to Tennessee or to Miami or to Florida State. You take the money because of you may not be a first-round pick. But it's Fernando Mendoza and who? Like, everyone else is going back to school. Put yourself in a position to where you can guarantee that you're going to get drafted higher because if they don't have another option.
Salute Ty Simpson. Salute Ty Simpson. I'll say that. Bear, let's stick with some of the Bama news that's come out over the last 24 hours or so. Again, Ty Simpson, he's been one of the big talking points, but Kalen DeBoer and company also got some massive, massive news in the transfer portal. A lot of this transfer portal news we're seeing, Cole, is not just about guys leaving. Who's coming back?
Yeah.
Who's entertaining the portal? Also NFL decisions. Who's deciding to come back to school? Again, Bama got a big boost when they found out earlier today that starting linebacker Yanze Pierre and starting safety Keon Sabb will be back for the 2026 season. Kane Womack got to be doing laps around his office right now in celebration. Pierre led the Crimson Tide with 14.5 tackles for loss, 8 sacks. Keon Sabb, of course, made 15 starts at safety, was a key piece of the Bama secondary. Cole, your immediate reaction, your thoughts. Obviously, these are two leaders of the Crimson Tide defense in 2026.
You're going to have a veteran defense next year. And that's going to be really apparent. And I think it's going to be really poignant for a young quarterback to be able to trust his defense to get the job done. I mean, you talk about bringing back Bray Hubbard. You talk about bringing back Keon Sabb. You talk about Yanze Pierre. You talk about some of the defensive linemen that you still have on the roster. You talk about having a solid linebacking core. You went out and you added in some pieces in the portal. For a Kane Womack defense to know that you have all of these guys locked in, and you also have emerging talent in the secondary, and you have some very young up-and-coming pieces for your team, it's enough to make you probably jump out of your chair and say, we're not going to miss a beat defensively. Now, offensively, you have to realize you got a new quarterback. You have some offensive line pieces that you got to wonder about. What are you going to do replacing Caden Proctor at the left tackle spot? You got to wonder about your overall schedule. But from a defensive standpoint, you have a Yanze Pierre who's going to be considered a first-round pick in next year's draft going into the season. And if he lives up to it, he could be another one of these high-profile names that represents Alabama as one of the biggest overall defensive players in the NFL. You talk about Keon Sabb. It only strengthens your secondary and gives you a running mate alongside with Bray Hubbard. And it takes some pressure off of guys like Dijon Lee and Draker Patrick Jr. and what you got with Xavier Brown. So this is a good move for Alabama because of now you just feel confident. You feel secure. You feel that a lot of the question marks that are going to derail your season potentially only come from the offensive side. They don't come from the defensive side. And honestly, I think that's a lot easier for you to go ahead and fix your offensive personnel stuff with what you got with Keelan Russell coming on in than it is to say, we got to replace 9 starters defensively. I've always felt like the defense is always ahead of the offense. So when you have a guy like Yanze Pierre and Keon Sabb say, you know what, we're back for another season, that makes it a lot easier for you to transition with all the other pieces around you.
Yeah, I think it's pivotal with a young quarterback, like you mentioned, Cole. You need the defense to be a strength, especially early in the season as Keelan Russell, you break him in, he gets adjusted. Yeah, getting these two guys back is absolutely massive. Sabb especially, a lot of experience on the back end of the defense. Experience is vital in this league, and I would expect Yanze Pierre to take another step forward and be one of the top players on that defense. So huge win for Kalen DeBoer, huge win for Kane Womack as they keep that thing together. And again, try to, I won't say bounce back, but build off of what they did in 25 and take the next step in Tuscaloosa. Cole, again, mentioning the portal. Let's get into it. Again, there's a lot of portal news. Let's start with a team that's been very active in the transfer portal. Some are saying he's the portal king yet again. That being Lane Kiffin, because he landed another quarterback. Because one's not enough and two's not enough. He needs 3 quarterbacks. He's completely flipping the quarterback room. Today's news, Hussein Longstreet coming over from USC. He did redshirt in 2025, had 3 total touchdowns, 103 passing yards. One of those was a passing touchdown, but a kid folks are really, really high on. This was the 2 guys between Levitt and he that I think LSU fans were, and most people were saying that LSU was targeting, that they were excited about. Well, they got them both, Cole, and now you've got Sam Levitt, Houston Longstreet, and Landon Clark, the Elon transfer. Thoughts on Longstreet? Again, he did not play a ton, but there seems to be a lot of buzz and excitement around this kid. And also just thoughts on what Lane Kiffin has done with the quarterback room. He has completely flipped this room in his short time there.
Well, he had to. I mean, you look at the names that were going to be back from Michael Van Buren, and then you lose Garrett Nussmeier. You knew that you had to bring in your own type of personnel. And Longstreet was a guy that was very much committed to Texas A&M throughout the entire process. At the very last second, he flips on over to USC, 6'4", good arm strength, very nice footwork. He's a project. But you know what this is? It's a good thing for Lane Kiffin because if it's like his Austin Simmons 2.0. And with Austin Simmons, he sat him for a year, let him learn underneath Jackson Dart, and then went into the season believing that was going to be the guy. You're doing the exact same thing, but instead of Jackson Dart, it's Sam Levitt. Levitt's a guy that you believe is going to end up being the difference of your team and helping elevate the overall style of the offense. And if he plays really well this year, he's going to go to the NFL draft. If he goes to the NFL draft, then you need a QB for the next season. That's what Longstreet does. And by the way, let's talk about how the fact that you mentioned USC quarterbacks. Last time Lane Kiffin got his hands on the USC quarterback, set records at Ole Miss. So, it's like there's a common theme here about getting guys like Longstreet to come on in. And then you throw in the Elon quarterback, you got to feel pretty good about at least elevating your competition. And that's the real key element here is that Lane's a guy that is not afraid to push some buttons and make quarterbacks go to the brink of their existence. Because remember, he brought in Spencer Sanders in 2023. 2023. And everyone was like, what was the deal with that? Why are you going out and adding in a quarterback when you have Jackson Dart coming off a solid season? Because we want to make sure that everybody in that room was replaceable. And he wanted to push a guy to be able to deliver. So you do that with a guy like Sam Levitt. You not only are hurting a team like Miami, who could be a competition for you, not getting their quarterback, or a Tennessee that need to get a quarterback, and they didn't land anybody in the portal, or Alabama that didn't want to go out and add anybody in the portal. You strengthen your quarterback room to where it feels like if something were to go wrong or something wasn't working, you have a second option. You have a guy that you believe can be a serviceable starter for a game or two, maybe the rest of the season, and he's pushing the veteran to have to deliver week in and week out. I think it's a smart play. I really do. And I really like the fact that you have Lane Kiffin going out of his way to make sure that the most important position on the football field is not just covered, it's elevated because of the personnel that you have around it. Landon Clark is a really good player. Longstreet has all the potential in the world. Levitt, I think I said this on Monday's show. When Levitt's healthy, I think he's the top 5 quarterback in college football. I very much like his tape. I thought that he was phenomenal in 2024. Give him a run game. You have a run game, hopefully, with Harlan Berry, and then you throw in Caden Durham back for another year. There's so much to like about what is that room right now that there still are some pieces you got to wonder about with the offensive line. But it's like Levitt gets hurt. Okay, no problem. We got the next guy waiting in the wings that's ready to start. Like that, and that's a good thing for a place like that.
Yeah, quarterback depth certainly is important as any position on the field. Longstreet's a guy, again, very limited highlights, but you look at him, Cole, the thing that jumps out, kid's fleet of foot. He can move. He's one of those dynamic dual threat guys. And you mentioned the last time that Lane Kiffin got his hands on a USC transfer, it did turn out pretty well. So, and again, Lane Kiffin has just sort of earned if he targets a guy and he wants him, I trust what he's got to say. I mean, I think I trust his decision-making on quarterbacks. So we'll see how they pan out. Obviously, they've got to pan out, but I'd say the quarterback room completely flipped overnight. They're in a really, really good position compared to where they were when he got there. There's no doubt. So Hussein Longstreet, we'll see how he factors in. Again, the competition, like you mentioned, Cole, if nothing else, is going to be at an all-time high. Iron sharpens iron. Should be a fun quarterback battle in Baton Rouge. Cole, moving on to another team that we really haven't spent any time discussing. And I mean, listen, you go 4-8, that's kind of what happens. You get sort of lost in the weeds with especially these coaching changes and so much happening over the last month and a half plus or so. The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yeah.
Maybe having one of the better portal seasons out there. And nobody's really talking about it. Quietly, very, very quietly. You could argue he's having one of the better portal seasons out there. And the reason we bring this up, there's news out today. Josiah Thompson, who, yes, he was on that offensive line last year that was abysmal. But Josiah Thompson was a massive recruiting win for South Carolina when it happened. He entered the transfer portal. From what I heard, the full expectation was for him to be on. He has now withdrawn his name, and he is back at South Carolina. And that really sparks, Cole. I think we should take a little bit of a deeper look at what South Carolina has done at this point because, yes, they have added pieces in the portal, 17 players. We can highlight some of these in just a moment. They've had 22 leave. They've had 17 come in. Again, Cole, when you go 4-8, as long as they're not the wrong 22, I don't know how upset you are because here's the deal. The victories have come in the roster retention and the guys that are coming back.
Right.
Lenoris Sellers, Nick Harbor, Dylan Stewart. That was the big trifecta you needed to come back to have a shot to improve in 26 and bounce back. They're all back for you. Bakari Swain, massive to get him back. Jalewis Solomon announced he's coming back. Cole, you have, and who knows, it may not lead to improved results. But the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting different results. So, Cole, they said to hell with it. The entire offensive line from last year, outside of Josiah Thompson now, but they're all gone. Pretty much everybody's gone. Like 90% of them are just gone. They went elsewhere.
So is the offensive line coach, which again,
so is
very
the
good.
Yeah, I mean, again, after you have the type of season and seasons that you've had at the offensive line, you're not shedding a tear. Those guys are gone. You have gone out and you've added some big-time players, both on the offensive line, the defensive front, really everywhere. I mean, you've added a ton of offensive linemen. Nitro Tuggle at tackle, Seth Smith, Sam Dixon.
Nitro Tuggle's as a wide receiver.
Oh, he's a wide receiver. Okay, I'm misreading. Sorry. Seth Smith at the offensive line position, Dane Arnett at offensive line, Emmanuel Poku at offensive line, Hank Purvis, who came up from Purdue, Carter Miller, tons of different guys. We'll see how they pan out, but you've completely flipped the room with new players. All I'm saying, again, Cole, we need to highlight, give Shane Beamer and company credit. I don't think South Carolina is ever going to be a place where you're winning the portal like some other schools, like let's say a Texas A&M, even an LSU, to where you're not going out and paying $4.5 million for Cam Coleman or whatever the crazy number was. You're not doing that. Most schools aren't doing that. But when South Carolina won in the portal big and they had that breakout season in 24, it didn't come off the backs of spending like that. It came off the backs of elite talent evaluation and talent development. They saw a guy like a Demetrius Knight Jr. from Charlotte that could come in and be an impact player. They saw a guy like a Kyle Kennard who was good at Georgia Tech, but I don't think anybody expected him to be defensive player of the year good. That's what they're going to need to have happen, Cole, to have the bounce back season in 26. But they have gone out and made those moves, brought in those players. We'll see how it pans out. But again, I think South Carolina, all things considered, especially with a lot of the negative momentum at the end of the season, you go 4-8, the way you lost games, the way you finished, pretty solid portal haul for them, and especially very, very solid to elite roster retention, keeping those guys within their building.
Well, think about this also. Odd seasons, Shane Beamer struggled. Even seasons, he hasn't.
Even season Beamer's a different beast for whatever reason.
It's weird, but it's the reality. 2021, you go 6-6. Okay, not terrible, but you know what? It's not what you wanted. You had Zeb Nolan starting games for you. Next season, you end the streak and knock out Tennessee in the college football playoff. You beat Clemson, and you had a good portal class. 2023, 5-7, bad offensive line play, inconsistent defense. You're starting Spencer Rattler. Doesn't go according to plan. 2024, you bring in Kyle Kennard. You bring in Knighton. You bring in Rocket Sanders, who just needs a fresh change of scenery. You go 9-3. You should have beaten LSU. You got stuck at college football playoff spot. You did, in my opinion. Last season, you go 4-8. Every other year, Beamer learns from his mistakes and somehow is able to target the right names in the portal that fly under the radar, develop them, and they overexceed expectations. So, like, going into the season, I may not have them as a playoff team. I may be weary because of I got questions when it comes to defense. How are you able to replace guys like Brandon Cisse? How are you able to replace guys like Kilgores? Like, that may be something that I wonder about. But I also know that you're going to hit on somebody. I don't know if it's going to be maybe Jordan Thomas, the defensive lineman from Georgia. Maybe it's going to be Emmett Rhodes. Maybe it's going to be Nitro Tuggle. Sam Dixon, the running back from Ohio State, has a breakout year. It could be any of them. But Shane Beamer is going to find a player that nobody was talking about going into the portal season that will end up being in the front runner conversations for all SEC player of the year or newcomer of the year or something along those lines. He just will, because that's what he does. But Josiah Thompson coming on back in is massive because it gives you flexibility on your offensive line. Ja'Karius Peak is the number one offensive tackle in the transfer portal.
Yeah, that was one I forgot to mention.
That's
a huge pickup.
That guy can play either side of the line. So what you can basically say is that if you believe Josiah Thompson is best suited at left tackle, now you got your right tackle position figured on out. Let's say you want to move him inside to guard, because if you think that he's better suited to be an interior lineman, Peak at the left tackle spot, then move Josiah Thompson to left guard. You have a bigger frame on the guard position, but you have more position flexibility when it comes to your interior offensive line. So there's just so much where there is, I would say, combinations and also opportunities for you to truly get the 5 right offensive linemen that you got to feel like that's going to be a massive win. And that's a win for Sellers. That's a win for Nick Harbor. That's a win for whoever's going to be your starting running back, whether that be, you have Seth Smith coming on back in, whether that be Matthew Fuller. It gives you opportunities to build a rapport in the passing game. They're apparently targeting the New Mexico State tight end, really good, fun player that had 700 receiving yards this past season. So, like, Shane Beamer has done a great job of understanding they were players I could not afford to let go of. I brought them on back in. They were players I needed to upgrade from. I brought them on in. My excuses of this team not being able to meet all expectations from the get-go. And now that we're not viewed as one of those premier teams in the SEC, like we're expected to go 7-5 or 8-4. Like that's what you would expect. Realistic expectations, they should be able to accomplish in 2026. Because number one, it's an even year. Number two, they killed it in the portal.
Yeah, they did what they're doing what they had to do, which is flip the roster.
Right.
They had to. I don't think on a team that went 4-8, you're ever going to be devastated over losing certain guys. Again, you wanted to keep that core intact, those top 3 guys. But a lot of the dudes that have left, especially the offensive line, I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, maybe from a depth standpoint, you're like, hey, we need to make sure we get the right numbers so we can have a spring game, we can have practice or whatever, but you're never going to be sad to lose guys from that unit when they had the type of year they did. So
here's the one thing I will say also, don't lose your mind over the fact that they end up panning out elsewhere. Because I can tell you what, there's
yeah, I mean, a better, everybody, sometimes people just need a different situation.
Right.
I mean,
there's always the thought of, well, what happens if we would have done this thing? What happens if we would have done this, that? It's like, they left you for a reason. They were never going to pan out with you. It's okay to say that you brought in a really good recruit that just did not find his footing in Columbia. You got somebody else to come on into Columbia, and now they're going to be remembered as a Gamecock forever. Like, Ja'Karius Peak was such a good find. Like, the fact that he chose you over Alabama, over LSU, over other major programs, it says a lot about the aggressiveness of Shane Beamer not letting Peak leave. Because remember, he was supposed to go visit Tuscaloosa. You had Shane Beamer close the deal. You had Shane Beamer lock him down before he ever could even leave Willie B. I tip my cap to that. That's a massive win, I think, in favor of the Gamecocks.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I thought it was important, Cole, we highlight because South Carolina sneakily, quietly having one of the better portal seasons, a season they absolutely needed to have if this thing was going to flip quickly or have an opportunity to flip quickly, had to make some moves in the portal. Will it happen? We'll see. But again, moves you just straight up had to make. Cole, other big news. Again, this is not portal related, but when you get a big time player that announces he's coming back, it's certainly worth noting. And the Texas Longhorns got that. Ryan Wingo has announced his return for the 2026 season. Cole, he had 834 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns in 2025. And Cole, all I can think about is he and Cam Coleman on the outside, buddy. Cole, does Texas have the best offense in the SEC coming back? I mean, I think we're getting to a point where we can make the argument.
They have the best hypothetical offense coming back. Let's go with that. If
they got to block somebody, right?
Because that's the thing, is that I have no idea what their offensive line is going to look like. But from a standpoint of the what could be, if we're going with the all what could be team, Cam Coleman's an all what could be. I mean, let's be real. He is an all what could be at Auburn.
If you let your mind go crazy, you're like, they could have 2,000-yard receivers. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
Ryan Wingo, when he was coming out of high school, viewed as one of the premier pass catchers in the sport. A what if guy. Hollywood Smothers. What if he would have hit his stride at a place like Oklahoma? Well, now he's coming down from a season at NC State, had a good year. How about a Reed Leak Brown? He was phenomenal last season at Arizona State. What if he can kill it in the SEC? Emmett Mosley. What if he stayed healthy the entire year for Texas? I mean, like, you add all that.
Dude, Arch Manning just taking the next step, as good as he looked at the end of the season.
You add all that together, and then you throw in what if Arch is as advertised in 2026 as he was supposed to be in 2025? So it's an all what if team, but I'll tell you, the what ifs are, if they all hit, it's arguably the best offense in college football. They're explosive at every single spot, and there's an opportunity for every single one of these guys to hit their stride at the right moment and basically be a juggernaut all the way to their national championship. Like, it really is. They made sure this offseason, having a quarterback like Arch Manning commit to them for another year, they were going to guarantee to Texas fans he would live up to the expectations. And if he doesn't live up to the expectations, it's because if he was overrated to begin with.
The big thing for Wingo will be eliminating the drops. That was something that sort of haunted him at times. But, I mean, again, you get a guy like that of his talent, his caliber. This dude had all the hype and the expectations, excitement around him. And I think for good reason. I think for absolute good reason. I mean, he had, I think a lot of people would say, an underwhelming year, a disappointing year, and he still finished with 834 receiving yards.
But do me a favor. Imagine him with 834 receiving yards as a number 2. Like, Cam Coleman ends up being the number 1.
Could be the best thing that ever happened to him. Yeah.
It's like, at that point, yeah, okay, I'm not the number 1 receiver. I'm not winning the Biletnikoff Award. Dude, you're a part of an offense that's averaging 45 points a game, and you're scoring a touchdown every other week. 5 catches for 75 yards per game, minimum. Oh, and by the way, there will be some games to where you have a number 1 cornerback shutting down Cam Coleman. That's opening up opportunities for you to become the number 1 guy. I mean, like, if you told me that those were his numbers as a number 2, we're talking about the most explosive offense in the SEC, far and away, bar none.
It really feels like, Cole, there's always pressure, but it feels like this is putting more and more and more pressure on Steve Sarkisian, because the guys you're going out and getting, if the offensive line, it has to click. You're right. They got to block somebody. But if the offensive line is average, if it's serviceable, y'all better be scoring points. You're not going out there in the portal picking up guys like this, paying these guys, getting these guys to come back for the expectation other than, you don't have to finish number 1 in offense, but you better be top 3. You better be at minimum top 5. Like, you better be one of the best offenses in the SEC. There's really no excuse.
Right now, Steve Sarkisian is basically putting I deserve to be the play caller, don't question my play calling, on the line. Because if you end up being a middling run of the pack offense and 26th in scoring overall, 31st in rushing, you're giving up too many sacks, Arch doesn't take that next step forward, you may not be fired, but you are definitely not going to be calling plays in 2027. They will make you go out and hire an offense coordinator. They will. Because this is too good a talent to be able to pass on that.
At some point, the blame's going to shift to you.
And it has to.
And it maybe already has. It already is. But the blame is going to shift to you. You can only, hey, Arch was young. The O-line lost a lot. Like, I don't know that you're going to have a lot of those same excuses in the 2026 season.
That's cool. You have all this talent. Get over it. Like, that's it.
But getting Wingo back was a big win. I think getting him back is a big win. Again, the idea of him and Coleman in a 1-2 punch, I agree with you. I think the losing Parker Livingstone, all of a sudden, the blow has been softened. That is for sure.
I will say the rival school got a big-time pickup as well out in College Station.
Yes, Isaiah Horton. Yeah, that was a massive one. One that we somehow, I somehow glossed over on Monday. I do apologize. 6'4", 210, led Bama in receiving touchdowns last season with 8. He's totaled 98 catches for 1,127 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns in his last 2 seasons at Miami and Alabama combined. Yeah, Cole, this was a big one. This was a big get for Texas A&M. Another weapon on the outside for Marcel Reed. And Isaiah Horton, again, he on a team that featured Ryan Williams, he became their top target and their best weapon on the outside.
Down the stretch, he did for sure. And then you got to remember in such critical moments how big of a role he had for the offense. I mean, he was the sole reason you won the Iron Bowl. They targeted him 3 times. He had 3 touchdowns. I mean, he was so steady as a playmaker. And he also knows his role as a number 2. Like, you remember him at Miami. He was a number 2. You remember him at Alabama. He was number 2. He will be the number 2 to Mario Craver. And that's a good thing. Because now you look at your team and say, I got a guy on the outside that's known for speed. I got a guy on the outside that's known for route running. I have a guy on the outside that won't drop anything if I'm going to go contend deep downfield. And I got a guy who is not going to drop a single pass. Like, there's a lot to like about that for Marcel Reed. And the other thing is, who's the offensive coordinator? Holman Wiggins. What does Holman Wiggins know? Wide receiver play. Like, he is a master at developing wide receivers. Go look at his concept trees that he had at Alabama with the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I mean, like, that's what he was known for in Tuscaloosa. So, like, you're getting that guy coaching Isaiah Horton, who had a very good season last year at Alabama. I do think that this is a good find because of the role he will play in this offense. It's not because if he's going to Texas A&M. It's because of A&M has a legit number 1. They have some guys that you really like is that number 3 role with Terry Bussey and Bethel Roman. You really, really do like Isaiah Horton being the Casey Concepcion replacement. I think that he's bigger. I think that he has as strong of hands. I think he is a very consistent route runner. A lot of things to like about the pairing opposite of Mario Craver. Like, the offensive role he is going to play, that probably leans a lot more in favor of what he can do as a playmaker.
Yeah, I think he definitely can be the number 1. I don't know that he's a Casey Concepcion type player, but like you said, just bigger body, bigger frame, 6'4". I think he can be that big playmaker on the outside for Texas A&M. I think it was a really, really good pickup. Mike Elko and Texas A&M doing a really solid job in the portal themselves, by the way, ranking pretty highly when you look at all the industry rankings, the portal rankings, what have you. But, yeah, love the pickup. I thought it was a big loss for Alabama when Isaiah Horton left. Texas A&M ends up landing him. And, again, he is going to be – I think he's going to flourish yet again. He could be a 1,000-yard receiver guy. Him and Craver, that's another – we got some dynamic duos, Cole, in the SEC, 1-2 punches at the wide receiver position.
That'd be a fun thing to rank in the offseason.
Good. Yeah, very well. We got plenty of time to do it. Guys, we want to take your questions and your comments to close out the show. So take the next couple minutes and leave those for us. Because in the meantime, I want to tell you about our friends over at Game Time. And for some reason, I have totally lost. Oh, there it is. Game Time. Guys, you need tickets, whatever it is. It's college football playoff. We got the national title on Monday. God bless you if you're paying that entry fee to get in. This $20 off that we're about to give you. I don't know how much it's going to do, but hey, $20 is $20. You're going to the NFL playoffs. You're going to your local hockey game. You're going to a concert, comedy club event, anything you can buy tickets to. Our friends at Game Time have got you covered. And we're really proud to announce that we are once again partnered up with our friends at Game Time for the 2026 calendar year. Download the Game Time app. Use promo code SECU. You're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Guys, the best partnerships are the ones that you truly believe in and you get behind, and especially when you use their product firsthand. I use Game Time for all of my ticket buying and literally everything. I go on the SEC Unfiltered Tour. I'm using Game Time to get our tickets. Living in Nashville, stuff going on every night, right? Whether going to a Predators game, concert, Titans game, anything in between, I'm going to Game Time. You can get your tickets last minute. That's no issue there. They show you exactly where you're sitting, what you're getting. I mean, they make the process so easy, so simple. One click with a button on my phone, and I've got my ticket. I'm in the game. And also, I'll tell you this too, fun story about Game Time. There's a guarantee with them. I once bought 2 tickets to a Braves game about a year ago, and it was 30 minutes before first pitch, and I had not gotten my tickets. Game Time reached out to me, said, we apologize for the inconvenience. Here's an upgrade on the tickets you bought. I was about 20 rows closer than the tickets I had bought. They made sure I was in the game. So the customer service is also incredible. Can't say enough good things about them. Again, check them out for yourself. Download the Game Time app, promo code SECU to get $20 off your first purchase. And again, we appreciate our friends over at Game Time for their love and support of SEC Unfiltered. Cole, let's get into a couple questions, a couple comments. As you can imagine, a lot of Texas A&M, Oklahoma. You guys seem to run the chat. I feel like the Lone Star State runs our chat.
They love having a Texas person here. That's the thing, man.
That's just it. They just make it all about them.
Exactly.
Texas people, they make it all about them. The world.
You know how we are. We're selfish. We're the only state that can call ourselves a republic.
The Republic of Texas.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sandman says, I think A&M will be better than their typical 8-4 reputation. Very well, good. How about what a measured take from our guy Sandman, the noted Aggie hater, thinks that A&M could be better than 8-4.
Okay, can I just say the quiet part? I put Texas at 8-4, Texas A&M at 8-4 because of it's the easy play right now. I don't think that they will go 8-4. I think that they will either go 10-2 or they will go 7-5. But 8-4 just feels like an easy one to put it right now.
Cole, Riley in the chat. Riley Carruthers, is it too crazy to think that Mississippi State could be 9-3 next year?
9-3, yes. 8-4, Kamario Taylor is really fun. How much is that defense going to improve underneath Zach right now is my big question. Because I don't worry about the offense right now. Like, the good news is that you will have Kamario Taylor back for the start of the season. He did not suffer major structural damage against Wake Forest in the bowl game. So you got to feel good about that. I think if they have Anthony Evans back for another year, which is a great thing. I mean, I know they have Anthony Evans back for another year, which is a great thing. There's some younger receivers like Aiden Williams that could have a breakout year. Fluff Bothwell still is an awesome running back. It's not weird. I just think that right now it's a lot easier to lean 5-7 because you don't know what that defense is going to be than saying 9-3.
Let's just get to a winning record first. That's what I have to say.
Get to a bowl game where you're in because if you qualify.
Right, because you actually qualified to get it. Not.
Win at least 2 games against SEC opponents. Double your SEC win total.
Be a great step forward. Yeah, I think the expectation for Mississippi State should be let's get to 7-5. Anything beyond that is just total gravy. And I mean, it'd be great to do, but 7-5 or better. 7-5 or better. Our guy Cole on Twitter, another Cole in the chat. Yep. Thoughts on Yanze Pierre returning to Bama? We did talk about this, but Cole, you and I agree. This is a massive, massive retention for Kalen DeBoer and Kane Wommack.
It is a huge victory for your for your defense. It's a huge victory for your pass rush. Yanze Pierre would have probably been a middle of the pack pick. He has an opportunity to be an All-American and a first-round pick in 2027. Like, massive, massive one in my opinion.
Bo Molinari asked us this. What makes you think Elko is going to regress by 3 games next season?
Because it's Texas 8-4. I mean, that's all I can make. All
right. That people are
I
really
won't do that.
People are really going to think we hate A&M.
No,
Marcel Reed still scares me a little bit. A new offensive coordinator. I think there could be some bumps in the road with that early. Yet, listen, they had a lot of close games this year. I think the schedule, though, also gets a little more difficult, I believe. Yeah, I was taking a look. You got to go back to LSU.
Yep.
This time with Lane Kiffin. You got at Alabama, at Oklahoma. Tennessee comes to your place. At South Carolina, you lost last year there. You still got Texas. I know they come to Kyle Field. I didn't even mention at Mizzou. That could be a tricky one. So, I agree with you, Cole. My final record predictions, I doubt I'll just land on the 8-4. I went 9-3 this past season. I thought that was.
I went 8-4 this past season.
Yeah, I went. I felt like I was being optimistic. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, here's the thing. I think as a fan, you have to understand. If you go, let's say, from 11-1 to 9-3, you can do that, and it's not like you took some major step back. But what if you don't come back from 28 down or whatever it was against South Carolina? What if the margins that you want the margins in this conference are so razor thin?
Right.
The difference between an 8-4 and a 10-2 season is a couple plays. It might be 2 plays, and that's the difference. It completely changes our narrative and our thinking on a certain team. So I don't think A&M is going to fall off a cliff. I think Mike Elko's a really good coach. I think they're going to be right in the mix yet again. But do they go 11-1 again? I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Like, here's the thing. You also had a schedule that was beneficial of you. And by the way, I'm not saying this to be disrespectful. You're given the schedule that you're given. Texas had the schedule that they were given in 2024. Guess what? They went 11-1. They played underwhelming teams throughout the SEC. And then they played one ranked opponent and they beat them. And they played one ranked opponent and they lost them. That was it. That was it. The same thing happened for Texas A&M. You played one ranked opponent that you beat the crap out of. You played one ranked opponent. You lost him. You went 11-1. A&M is in a place right now to where there are 5 to 6 games. Each of these teams could end up being really promising or they could suck. I don't know what to make of Tennessee. I don't know what to make of Missouri. I don't know what to make of LSU. I don't know what to make of Alabama. I don't know what to make of Oklahoma. I don't know what to make of South Carolina. I don't know what to make of Texas. Every single one of those games could end up being in your favor because if you're just simply better than them. Or they're even matched with you, and 1 or 2 plays is the only difference between you winning or losing. That's it. Like, I just don't have a good gauge right now where you are in Texas A&M. They are. You beat the teams that are on your schedule. Prove me wrong in a way too early where I don't know who's going to be the starting offensive lineman, who's replacing Cassius Howell on the defensive front, who's replacing Scooby Williams at linebacker, who's replacing Torian York at linebacker, who's coming on in to be opposite of Des Ricks at cornerback. I don't know who's winning these battles right now. But I can tell you that there are at least 5 or 6 games for A&M going into next season. I can absolutely see them winning, no questions asked. I could also see them losing it.
Yeah, I think 8-4, that way too early prediction more so says, Cole, there's a lot of swing games on the schedule. There's a lot of swing games. They really could go either way. Again, I know that's people won't like hearing that, but it's a way too early prediction. I'm really not.
It's
I'm not ready to
January
go
14th, and we have people, again, we have A&M fans losing their mind over 8-4. I'm sure I'll change it, Bo. I'm sure it'll be 9-3 or 7.
Let's take a few more questions. Our guy Bo Molinari says, which new coach is the best season? New coach not named Lane Kiffin. You obviously, John Summerall, are very much on the John Summerall train. If I had to pick one, I'll go not named Lane Kiffin. I'll go Alex Golesh at Auburn. I like if there's one that's going to pop, I think they could be one that surprises.
I will tell you the one I'm the most excited to see play. It's Will Stein at Kentucky. I do
like Stein. I like Stein.
I am very excited to see what Will Stein's going to be at Kentucky. I think in 2 or 3 years, we will see Kentucky be in that conversation. If it is a 16-team playoff, I think that we will see Kentucky be in the conversation in the next 2 to 3 years, competing for one of those last spots. I really do.
Well, the way Mark Pope and the basketball program are struggling, they need football to bounce back.
They need something. Or baseball.
They need something. Sandman says, would you be in favor of the SEC title game rotating venues each season? I'm tired of the Atlanta location, but their concessions are wonderfully cheap. I'd like the SEC championship game to be in ... He then says Baton Rouge, which is a very strange answer. Bring it to Nashville, baby.
It's going to be
I'm biased.
Nashville.
I'm biased. Dude, that new stadium is going to be electric. Bring it to Nashville.
It'll be in Nashville at least.
Let's stop pretending like Nashville isn't the SEC's center hub city. Let's stop it. We already got the basketball tournament. I get the baseball tournament isn't leaving Hoover. That's fine. I don't think it would do well at the minor league ballpark in Nashville. There isn't an RV lot to tailgate in. But the football championship, I mean, come on.
Do you want to know why I want it in Nashville? Because of unless Vanderbilt goes, everyone, it's a fair drive. It feels that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's fair. And I mean, hey, not doubting Clark Lee and company, but I don't know when we're going to see. Sandman says NOLA. I mean, I could see New Orleans, but Nashville just makes so much sense.
Okay, well, humor me on this for a second. Just humor me on this. Where is the Big Ten championship game played?
What is Indy?
Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what's not in Indianapolis? One of the New Year's Six games. Do you want to know what's not in Nashville? One of the New Year's Six games. So it's like you can have that game be like that premier location and still have the Peach Bowl and the Sugar Bowl and all those other games be matchups. And again, the only difference is that right now, the only game that's played, if you were to move that one, is the Big 12 championship is still played in Arlington. Besides that, everything else is done.
Bo says Dallas, Nashville, Atlanta, New Orleans rotate. I don't really love the rotating. I don't know. I don't like the.
I'm okay with it, but I know they won't.
Yeah, and I mean, you really want the game at Jerry World?
Well, it can't be at Jerry World. They already have a conference championship at Jerry World.
True. So where would it be? They're going to play it at the Cotton Bowl.
See, that's a one game venue.
That's
a one game venue. Nobody else should play there.
They don't play a bowl game anymore there, do they? Or do they play it? They don't. Okay. Just for the shootout. Interesting. All right, let's take one more question here. I'm trying to find a good one. Okay. Dog-E3F, ironically enough, who's a Texas fan. What team do y'all expect to overachieve in the SEC in 2026?
I mean, Florida.
I mean, I think Florida for sure at 10-2.
Florida.
Yeah, I'll go with Auburn. It's very, very early. We got to see how the rest of the roster shakes out, but I love Byron Brown at quarterback. So
I'm very much again, guys. I cannot say this enough. Florida is my toxic relationship. And I am okay with it because I always think that they're going to change. And I've been burnt. And once I've accepted the reality, I'm going to be burnt.
I lied. One more, Cole. Matt Hensley on Facebook. What about South Carolina and the moves they're making? This is funny enough, Cole. This is why South Carolina people were so pissed off at me on Monday because they thought the postseason report card I dropped was about the portal. Right. Yeah, I would not give South Carolina an F for what they're doing in the portal, but a lot of them thought it was. They just were like freaking out over it. I think you got to be pretty happy. Again, you retained your core guys that are your difference makers. You have out with the old, in with the new. I think you had to hit the reset button on the offensive line. You've done that. You've picked up some guys that I think should be impact players. And I think for the rest of them, Cole, again, it's going to have to be a lot like 2024 was. You're going to have to take some diamonds in the rough and turn them into diamonds. You know what I mean? Hopefully they're more diamonds than they are coal. You're not going to hit on all of them, but
don't even need them to be diamonds. Just make them be quartz or topaz or opal or something like that. Just gems. There you go. Problem solved.
Yeah, but I think overall South Carolina's done a good job in the portal. That's the reason we wanted to bring them up on the show today. They've done a really, really good job. We'll see how it pans out for the 26 season. That said, Cole, good stuff. Really, really good stuff today. Any fun plans for the weekend?
I got to work.
Yeah.
I got Texans still.
I am, funny enough, going on, those like party bus things?
Oh, God. What are you doing?
First time ever, I got invited to go on a party bus.
Is it a bachelorette trip? What are we doing?
No,
dude?
it's.
Are you a stripper?
No. My buddy of mine, a buddy of mine here has, I guess, this girl he knows. She's moving away from Nashville, and it's like her going away
on a party,
whatever. So yeah, be first time Saturday night. It's happening. So yeah, wish me luck.
Do you make sure that you call an Uber, or just have the party?
Dude, we don't drive around here. It's
or
always
have the party bus just drop you off at your house.
That's dude, it's always Ubers here, bro. We never drive.
Oh, I do want to answer this question real fast.
Yeah.
Cole, when is the next time you're on the A team? I'm not on the A team anymore because I got promoted. I am now the morning drive host. So I am with Dan Matthews from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. So if you want to listen to the show,
you got to wake up to get your coal fix.
Yeah, you listen from 6 to 10 a.m. in the mornings now. So I'm no longer on the A team. They loved me so much or really wanted me to, kind of piss off people enough in the mornings that they said, Yeah, let's move Cole to the mornings. So now I'm on there.
Love
Nice.
it. Guys, once again, Mondays and Wednesdays at 2 o'clock Central from now until toe meets leather to 2026, and then we add Sundays in there. That's going to be the schedule. That's going to be the schedule. So make sure you're setting your calendars, you're setting your alarms. Really, really excited to go into next week, all the big things we've got happening. Like I mentioned to you, I did tell you this too. We're going to be doing some different stuff with the show, adding segments. We're going to have ourselves a text line as well to streamline the questions and everything, get you guys even more involved in the show. That being said, Bear, let's wrap it up. Really appreciate you, my man. Really, really good stuff as always, guys. We hope you'll have a great weekend. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, all across favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. For Cole the Bear Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. This is the Overtime Drive. Y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday and a great weekend. We'll talk to you all on the other side. Cheers.